The last of the names I categorized as being very intriguing. Some of them I find usable, a lot of them I don't. A lot of them I like as character names, for movies or for books, or just for purely guilty pleasure names. The first one I'm going to talk about is Avonlea, which you guys have all heard of because of Katie. Avonlea, I like the sound of it, and the spelling is interesting. I picture it more for a middle name. I can see it working as a first name. I just don't love it for a first name, I guess. It's really unique though, and that kind of draws me to it. The next name is Eris, which is for a girl, and I like Eris. Doesn't it remind you guys of like the next heir, like to the crown, like an heiress? I don't know if that's an actual word, heiress, but but I like it, and that's what it reminds me of. Eris isn't exactly my style, but it could work in any name position, first, middle, or guilty pleasure, in my opinion. The next is Arden, and I think Arden is really cool, and I would love to read about it in a book, but I cannot really imagine meeting someone named Arden. That's just me. Next is Kaladin, and I find Kaladin completely usable. It used to be one of my, one of the names that I really liked. I just got kind of, bored with it a little bit, but I still think it's usable, and Kaladin, it just sounds very intriguing and handsome, and it could definitely work. Next is Fenrir, as in Fenrir Greyback from Harry Potter. I think it's pronounced Fenrir. That's how I've always pronounced it. I think some people pronounce it Fenrir, Fenrir, or something like that, but I pronounce it Fenrir, and I don't find it usable, but I definitely think it's cool, and I like how J.K. Rowling used it in her book. Next is Finian. I find Finian completely usable. It's not my style, but it's handsome, and it's just very unique, and it, I don't know, I like it. Gal is the next one, and I actually like it better on a boy than I do on a girl, which is funny because it originated as a girl name, I do believe, and then Suzanne Collins used it in her book for the Hunger Games, and that's where I first heard it as a boy, and I really liked it. But I wouldn't use it, but I do think it's, I think it's usable for a middle name for a boy, maybe not for a first name just because of the whole Gal as a girl association. Next is Gara for a boy, and I like the way it looks. So it looks very cool with the double A's right next to each other, but I don't know if it's usable for English native countries. You guys let me know. Next is Hitomi, and I picture Hitomi being used on a very beautiful, like, I don't know, Brazilian girl maybe, or, I don't know, just someone who lives in South America-ish range. Again, I think Hitomi is kind of cool. I would never, ever use it, but I understand why Katie likes it. Honor is the next one, and I find Honor usable. I've read it in a couple books, except I've read it as a girl's name, and Katie likes it for a boy's name. Honor for a boy. I think it could work. I just don't know how well, I guess, for a first name. Next is Jiraiya, and this one just, it's weird to look at. Like, I couldn't even tell how to pronounce it until I watched Katie's name video. And I'm thinking that if it was spelled G-E-R-I-A-H, I think that would be much more usable and much more easily pronounced. What do you guys think? If it was spelled that way, I think it'd be, it would make a very nice first name. Next is Kyrie, and Kyrie is such a sweet name for a girl. It looks very pretty too, and I like it. I'd like to meet a little girl named Kyrie. Next is Nyla, and a couple people are liking this on Formspring. I personally don't like it though, because it reminds me of nylons. I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks that, but that's what I think of, nylons. And I'm kind of indifferent to it, I guess, if I don't think of the nylon part of it. I say it's usable and it could fit someone really well as a name, but I prefer it as a middle name or a guilty pleasure. Next is Nominee. This is one of Katie's favorites that she would love to name her daughter. Nominee, I think it looks cool, but I don't know if it's usable just because it's so hard to pronounce. Like, no one knows how to pronounce it first try or anything. And I feel like if you said it, Nominee, and then had someone write it down, they wouldn't spell it the way that it's actually spelled, so that kind of makes me not love it so much. But I do understand why she thinks it's so pretty. The next name is Nicodemus, and I think this could make an awesome name. It might be too grand for a first name, possibly, but I think it could be an awesome middle name. And just like Katie says, it would definitely be shortened to Nick no matter what. At least I think so, because it's so long and grand. And I don't know, taking Nicodemus and then making it Nick, I don't really like that. Next is Noble, and I don't think Noble is usable quite yet, but I think it could be an awesome middle name, perhaps. I don't know if it's even usable for a middle name, at least in my opinion. I like it as a guilty pleasure name or a character name. And, yeah. Ollivander. I think Ollivander is completely usable for a middle name at least. I don't know how usable it is for a first name, but I really like this name, Ollivander. It's very handsome, and it's kind of exotic, and it's a lot different than Oliver. Or, you know, it's a different version of Oliver, sort of thing. Yeah. Paladin is the next one, and that is for a boy. I understand where it sounds kind of exotic and kind of cool, but I don't really like it as a name itself. It would be cool for a character name though. Next is Sai for a boy, and I love the way it looks, but I don't really like the way it sounds just because it sounds like, Sai. Next is Senri, and I think Senri could make an awesome character name, or just good for a guilty pleasure name. I don't know how well it would make for a first or middle name. That's just my opinion. Next is Sirius, and I would love someone to use the name Sirius, if only it wasn't the whole, you know, why are you being so serious, or, you know, like it being an actual word but spelled a little differently. Next is Soren, and Soren I think is definitely usable. I would like to meet someone named Soren. I think it's pretty darn cool. Two names that I've heard a little bit recently are Thaddeus and Theoden. I like Theoden a little bit more than Thaddeus. I can't picture someone named Thaddeus, really, except possibly reading about a character. Yeah, Theoden is okay. I can see that being used right now, but I prefer it for a middle name or a guilty pleasure name. And then the last two are Valor and Zia, and those are both for boys, I do believe. Valor, I think that's a really cool virtue name, and I can see it being used. And then Zia, this is probably my favorite spelling for a boy, though I would like it, I think, more for a girl if it was Z-I-A. Not quite sure. Katie then challenged us to name 5 of her kids using the names from her list, and then 2 of our own kids using her names. So Because she kind of likes more intriguing, beautiful sounding names, whether they're usable or not, I just kind of put a mixture of them all in. And I think all the ones that I chose are usable, but they're definitely not ones that you'd hear every day. So here are the names. I actually chose six names that would be her children. Soren Phoenix, Rowan Ollivander, Sebastian Cade, Caledon Jones, Nyla Avonlea, and Acadia Winry. I think those are really pretty, and they sound nice, and I don't know if she actually used them or not, but I think they're usable. Then I actually named 2 girls and 2 boys for my own kids using these names. And they are Leia Aowen. I wanted to use A. Now I challenge you guys to take Katie's list and make up some combos for her. Leave it in the comments below or in a video response, and also to make up at least one combo that you would possibly use. Thanks for watching. Bye. My dad. Next on her list is Gwendolyn, and I think Gwendolyn is very usable. It used to be for a favorite of... Next on her list... Next is Wendy, and it's actually last on the list. Hi everybody! I am going to be doing a video response to AvonleaGrace's favorite names. AvonleaGrace.